Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode we have a listener request from Alex Sterling, and he says Martellus Bennett. So yeah, we can do Martellus Bennett. Of course, I've not done that many tight end shows, have I? I don't think I have. But this is going to be a very interesting sort of player to get into. He's been probably one of the more underrated tight ends in the NFL. For a while, and he's someone that has a good overall profile. He does have a couple things that point towards the fact that if he was to become a multiple high quality sort of player, that he would become an outlier, and I'll get into some of those reasons. But we're going to get into everything with him. We're going to get into his production in college, his combine performance, specifically about what his athleticism looks like, his NFL production, and then we're also going to get into some offensive split data stuff because, as you know, I just got done with a huge data project collecting offensive split data, and I figured I would test some of it out with Martellus Bennett just to get that whole thing started. So for anybody that isn't familiar with the work that I do, if you're not familiar with any of the terms that I'm using, I'm going to leave those terms in the description. So if you're not very familiar with things like offensive market share data, if you don't really know what explosive lower body strength scores are and stuff like that, just go to the description, and I'll have all the definitions of the terms there. And if you still have questions, just leave a comment below. I'll get to it. So let's start with Martellus Bennett. When it comes to his passing yardage market share production, he had a 90.33 overall score since the 1969 NFL draft class. Based on my data since that time point, pretty much 100% of multiple All-Pro tight ends had at least an 80 or higher when it comes to their passing yards market share production, with 58 or higher for Pro Bowlers, and then 7.68 or higher for starters. The only players who don't fall into this, though, which you're all familiar with, are players like Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates. That's really about it, guys. I mean, what surprised me is the phenomenon of the tight ends with no experience at all, for the most part, like not very much production. Jimmy Graham comes to mind. Antonio Gates especially is probably the best example, a guy that barely played any football at all, just mostly basketball, and went on to become a really, really productive player. There's not that many of them since 1969. There's not that many tight ends. Those are the only two guys who really fit into that category. So I'm not comfortable with people saying that you just need a tight end to be a basketball player, have long arms and stuff like that. I don't think that that's necessarily a true statement to make, considering that it's only a very recent, there's a lot of recency bias to that statement, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But for the most part, Martellus Bennett pretty much hit every single sort of threshold when it comes to his production in college. So that wasn't the issue with him at all. Then when you get to his athleticism data, this is where the only sort of issue existed for the most part. He had a 70.35 explosive lower body strength score, 80.49 speed score, and 20.04 flexibility score. The flexibility score is the only area where he ran into some trouble. 100% of multiple All-Pro tight ends since 1999, they had at least a 57.62 flexibility score. And the fact that Martellus Bennett didn't hit that threshold is the only real thing that really holds him back from, basically having the athleticism of a multiple All-Pro / multiple Pro Bowl type tight end for the most part. However, he did have good explosiveness, he did have good speed, and as I always try to stress to you guys, when it comes to analytics, you have to take sort of a whole view of it. And he's a tight end that had really good production out of college, on top of having really good athleticism traits when it comes to explosiveness and speed. This is by no means a bust player. This is just somebody that might have some things that might cap his overall upside in the future. So at the very least, and may even become an outlier because he had high-end production in college, on top of having some above-average athleticism traits. So again, you have to, analytics isn't as much as just dismissing things as much as looking at all the available data and then coming to some sort of conclusion that makes sense for the most part based on the available data, based on everything that's in front of you. And Martellus Bennett at least showed that he could become a long-term starter in the NFL coming out of college pretty consistently. Like, that's the main thing that you could have driven. And you also could have driven that there is a potential that he could become an outlier based on his production, because I typically like to go with production more so than athleticism many times when it comes to data. So despite the fact that his flexibility score wasn't the best, he still would have been somebody who would have been considered possibility of an outlier because of his overall explosiveness, speed, and then his production. I think you start with his production, which has been pretty dang good. As soon as he left the Dallas Cowboys, which had Jason Witten, of course, he was able to kind of stand on his 2 feet and be a very productive player on the Giants, the Chicago Bears, and of course the Patriots throughout his career. And just so you know, MSPY is market share, passing yards market share production score. MSY is total offensive market share production score, and then ERA with the stuff is just what his production is adjusted for the era in which he played, which is basically a 10-year score sample for each performance. And it basically this is more so for comparing tight ends from the 60s to the 70s and 80s to the 2000s, stuff like that. But when it comes to Bennett, he's been very productive. That's the basic thing I can really say about him, is that he's been able to put up 80 percentile to 90 percentile plus production, with the exception of 2015, which was kind of a down year for him. And when you actually get into the offensive split data, so think of this as like target percentage. So how often does he create a completion with every target he receives, and then you compare that to the averages for winning football teams in these specific situations when it comes to completion percentage. Because obviously if you're targeting a player who gets a lot of completions, and that's going to bump your completion percentage up if you're trying to target that particular player. And when it comes to his data, and this is first down percentage overall, second down percentage, third down percentage, fourth down percentage, and then all the other situations that he's been in as a NFL player. And he's been very good when it comes to first down completion percentage. And again, the high usage seasons are from 2012 to 2016. And in those particular seasons, he was very good he was phenomenal really when it comes to third down completion percentage. For 2013 to 2016, he had an 80 to 90 percentile plus completion percentage when it comes to third down. And second down was also pretty decent. And first down, other than 2015, which was kind of 2016, 2014, and 2013 were pretty decent as well when it comes to that particular situation. And then for whatever reason, when he was on the Giants, his production was kind of all over the place. And then of course you have the extra splits. But then when you actually look at his first down conversion rate, this is different than completion percentage. This is basically how often on the targets that Bennett got that he was able to get a first down in these specific situations. So whether it was first down, the ability to create first downs on first down, the ability to create first downs into, second downs into first downs, and of course third down conversion rate, and then of course fourth down conversion rate just overall. When you look at a general sense of it, even though he's been able to create a high amount of completion percentage, that hasn't really translated to getting first downs with every completion. However, he's done pretty well when it comes to creating first downs on first down throughout most of his career, on top of creating first downs on third down in his career. For the most part, he had two very, very high highs when it comes to creating first downs on third down, which was in 2013 and then 2016. And second down conversion was a little when it comes to the Patriots and his last season on the Bears, although the Bears season was kind of a down year for the Bears overall, which they're still kind of on a down year. But for the most part, all you should really get from this is that Bennett is pretty good when it comes to creating first downs on first down throughout his career. especially when he had a very good quarterback as well, and of course Tom Brady. And also third downs into first downs. And of course, this is the rest of the split data in terms of the specific situation. So you can pause the video and look at these specific situations. But how this pertains to Aaron Rodgers, okay? Well, the biggest thing I've noticed with Aaron Rodgers, and this is basically Aaron Rodgers' split data. So this is basically what he's looked like when it comes to his first down completion percentage, second down completion percentage, third down, fourth down, etc. throughout his career. And you can pause the video and look at this as well. But the big thing I really want to emphasize in this video is why I think that the Green Bay Packers added Martellus Bennett, which I think is with first down conversion rate. Because when you look at Aaron Rodgers in terms of his first down conversion rate, it hasn't been the best in the last 2 seasons with Aaron Rodgers. He's been someone who, and he's you know, Aaron Rodgers is a very good, I mean, he's an elite level quarterback. There's no denying that. You can see some of the seasons that he's had in the past. He's just been amazing in those seasons, but he's been in a bit of a slump from 2015 to 2016, and a lot of that slump has to do with the ability to create first downs on first downs from 2015 to 2016. And 2016 got a little bit better, but it still was sort of an issue with him. And in 2016 in particular, he had to rely heavily on third down, in terms of converting the football in third down situations. But I think what Bennett gives you, and if you refer back to the general chart of his data, when you just look at his general ability when it comes to first down conversion rates, throughout his career, for the majority of his career when he was a high usage player, when he was on the Giants, the Bears, or even the New England Patriots, he was able to create first downs on first downs at a pretty high rate. And excluding the third down conversion rate, which, as we already know, Aaron Rodgers is already pretty good when it comes to converting on third down for the most part anyways. So that really isn't the issue. But I think the big reason why Martellus Bennett was signed was because of his ability to turn first downs into first downs. Because, again, if you convert first downs into first downs, you have a higher chance of winning football games. You're just more stable as a football team. You're able to move the football a little better, more consistently. You don't have to rely solely on second down and third down to move the football, etc. So, but I think that that's the big reason. That's the value of Martellus Bennett in a nutshell when it comes to his data perspective, is that he's been a productive tight end. We all know that. I'm not going to drone on and on about it. But I think the big strategic reason for Martellus Bennett comes down to his ability to create first downs on first downs, which is something that he's been able to do for the majority of his career, especially with really good quarterbacks, or even sometimes not even good quarterbacks. If you want to say Eli Manning is a bad quarterback, or Jay Cutler. But for the most part, I think that that's what Martellus brings to the table. I think he brings another target that he's going to look for on first down in those specific situations, and I think that that ability to create first downs into first downs, I think, is the biggest sort of contribution that he can have on this offense to get it bumped up, to get the health of the offense a little bit up overall. So I think that that's what he's going to contribute the most. And again, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.